trust can be hurt. And to rebuild trust, it's very hard. This is the hardest, by far, the hardest part of our job is if an asset is underperforming. So the hardest conversation that we've had with an investor is if that investment has underperformed. And it doesn't happen that often. Conversations are rare, but when it happens, you've got to be upfront. We want to speak straight, and even though that asset is underperformed, we've got to describe that to the investor and tell them why and tell them what the outlook is. Why would an asset underperform? The market was not strong enough. A tenant who we thought was going to be strong and stay left. Our ability to backfill a tenant, which we thought was good, didn't happen. There are property taxes or other costs that we thought we could manage in a certain way that we haven't been able to manage. COVID happened, and COVID shut down every tenant and they stopped paying rent. And pretty much every commercial property was in default. And so, things happen, and with the best of intentions, the best of underwriting, the best of planning, the best of questions, there is a possibility that things don't perform the way you want them to perform. If things aren't working as planned, that transparency is very important. Now the question is, does it build trust by being transparent if the news that is conveyed is not good news? And the answer is yes and no. Sometimes the trust is there because they know that we have done everything we can to maximize the value of the asset. And then sometimes trust is not there because an investor trusted us that we would perform. And for reasons, whether it's in our control or out of control, in that situation, we might have underperformed. And so trust can be hurt. And to rebuild trust, it's very hard. This is the hardest, by far, the hardest part of our job is if an asset is underperforming. And as of today, we've never had an asset where we've lost money for an investor, but we will have an asset that will lose money for an investor. And so those type of conversations are uncomfortable. I do think an investor wants to know the truth. And if something is underperforming, you got to let them know and talk it through with them and just let them know where we are and let them know that given bad news at the property, we are doing everything possible to maximize the value, even if an asset underperforms. By far, the majority of assets perform. And at the same time, we're not perfect. Things happen, and you have to share what's going on, the truth. Speak straight, rock step number 8. And so that's what we want to live by and let people know if there is an asset underperforming or if something negative has happened with regard to your strategy that could possibly lead to an underperformance in the future.